Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Nolan Hawkeye Anthony YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here wherever you may be. And of course, however you may be listening. Going to go ahead and get this shared out. So just give me a moment to do that. And we will discuss this Iowa Hawkeye game that was absolutely classic Iowa football. Classic Iowa football. But before I get too excited here, I want to get this shared out. So everybody come in. As I always say, if you guys would like to donate to the channel, you absolutely can. It's much appreciated. Just as a thank you to the content that is made, and definitely supporting your boy's coffee habit. Interesting game, to say the least. Wow. Here, you know what? That's what we're going to do. We're going to do this. Wow. Just getting this shared out, guys. Just hang tight for 1 second and we will dive straight in to this game. Almost done. Hope all of you guys are having an excellent Saturday. I've had a very busy Saturday. I wouldn't, very productive, very busy. Not the most fun Saturday though. All right. All right, here we go, guys. Let's dive into this. So where do I begin? I'm just going to dive right into it and just give all of my thoughts unequivocally on this game. Okay. The guy who called the game, I actually really like him. I think he does a good job at calling games. Sometimes he says some goofy things, but by and large, I think he knows football well. And at the very least, he seems to, somewhat like Iowa football. And he said it best as the game was getting closer and closer at the end. He said, and if you look at the totality of the game, it really wasn't that close. Okay. Iowa definitely, I would say, was the leader in this game and for a majority of the game. But like I said, he said it best. Iowa took a few shots at the end of the game, very makeable shots that were missed. And that was why they were in the situation that they were in at the end of the game. Now, by the way, guys, if you are just hopping in here, Iowa wins this game 20-13. Very makeable plays. Deontay Vines was unable to come down with his catch. Cade McNamara missed. Seth Anderson, very makeable. And that's why they were in the situation that they were in. So this game is like every other Iowa Hawkeye game that we have seen 1,000,001 times, especially against Iowa State. And I pretty much have Iowa's, by the way, guys, I'll read comments at the end. I pretty much have Iowa's kind of MO, their offense. And I think the guy who was commentating the game really just nailed it down. Iowa pretty much has the same status quo offensively, no matter what. And, you know, if you're a fan that was hoping for these like massive overhaul changes and this massive philosophy change in the offense, you were sadly mistaken. Iowa's whole philosophy of their offense is, let's try and get some points early on our scripted plays. And if we can't score on those, but let's definitely try. Let's try and get as many points as we can in those scripted plays. If we can't, let's bear down and let's defend. And if we're up, we're going to bear down even more than we would have bared down if we didn't score at all. But we're going to bear down, especially if we score, and really hunker in and pack it in. And as the game goes on, we might take one or two more shots, but that's it. And really, Iowa's offensive success, when you really think about it, comes down to two significant portions of the game. The scripted plays, as I was telling you guys about last week, that one of the, I think it was either Blackheart Gold Pants or Chad Lysico was discussing, that Brian Ferentz really struggles outside of his scripted plays. So it's early on, and in the second half, Iowa takes anywhere from 1 to 3 shots, and their success on those plays determine the offensive output for the game. Okay. Everything else is short yardage, run the ball, pound the ball, kill the clock, really game manage, slow it down, and just give it and put it on the defense and the special teams. That is exactly what Iowa's offensive game plan is. It's crazy. I mean, we've seen it about 1 million times, and it's not gonna change. Now, I don't want to hunker on that too much, because at the end of the day, Iowa is really good at this philosophy of football. Again, if you are somebody that was like me, hell, even I was somebody like this, that was really hoping for this offense to have this massive overhaul, especially with Cade McNamara, especially with Caleb Brown, especially with Seth Anderson, especially with Caleb Johnson, especially with Eric All and Luke Lachey, you were just sadly mistaken. Now, you could say, well, Nolan, Iowa State has a good defense. Okay, fair enough. That's true. They do. Okay, they do. So I don't want to lean into that too much. But I think at this point, we pretty much know that what Brian Ferentz and what Kirk Ferentz does is they, like I said, they have their scripted plays at the beginning of the game. And then like in the third, fourth quarter, they take a few shots, and their success on those plays really determine the outcome of the game. This game was won by 3 factors. As usual, the Iowa defense and the special teams, specifically Sebastian Castro's pick 6, because if Sebastian Castro does not get that pick 6, this game is tied up, folks. This game is tied up. It came down to Sebastian Castro's pick 6 and Josiah Patterson's coming out party and his 2 really solid runs. That is what this game came down to. Those 3 plays. That is what determined this game. It's insane. It really is. And, Iowa football can have it. Honestly, guys, it would not matter if they had 300 plays or 400 plays, because no matter what, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to have their scripted plays, and they're going to take a few shots at the end. And the success of those plays are ultimately going to determine the outcome of the game. Now, the positives of this game, obviously, Iowa won the Cyhawk game on the road. That's really awesome. That's great. It's not easy to win on the road. I don't think that Iowa State is going to be an amazing team this year. I think they'll be lucky to be a 500 team this year. A lot of it will depend on the development of Rocco Brecht and their running game. They've got some decent pieces. Okay. I would not be surprised in the least if they are a 500 team or an 8-win team, but I think that that's what they are. This is not one of Matt Campbell's better teams. So I don't want to overhype this victory, but it is still not easy to go on the road in a rivalry game and win. And, there are people whose mindsets are lean far more to just win by any means necessary. Just win by any means necessary. I would say I lean towards that. While on one hand, I definitely would love to see the Iowa offense have some sort of improvement. Ultimately, I'm good if they just win. Iowa is now 2-0. Their defense and their special teams are spot on yet again. And we're 2-0, baby. What more is there to say, guys? I mean, we have seen this. We've seen this before. We've seen it countless times. We've seen it countless times where the MVPs of the game are one of the defensive players, the defense really as a whole, the special teams, and perhaps a few good runs by the running back. Now, the positive, what about Josiah Patterson, folks? Let me show you guys. In my running back preview, I showed you guys his oh my gosh. Man, these news sites are obsessed with Koof. Absolutely obsessed with it. I don't even know if people read those articles anymore. But hold on, let's see here. Let me see if I Josiah Patterson, I was always really high on because there is a reason why he had the offer sheet that he did. I mean, this guy, you would be hard pressed to find somebody who has a better offer sheet than Josiah Patterson. Texas A&M, Alabama, Penn State, Michigan, and he went to one of the best high schools in the nation in Deerfield Beach. Miami, Oregon. Look at this offer sheet, guys. I mean, it's as good as Xavier Wampa's. Now, of course, some of these ended up not being committable offers. Auburn, Missouri, Ole Miss, Florida, Nebraska, Maryland, Utah, Indiana. Crazy. Okay, I'm going to read your guys' comments here, but really quickly. So what about Josiah Patterson, guys? Very good. Very happy about his coming out party. You guys know that I said last week that I would like to see more of Josiah Patterson. I think it's got to be him and Caleb Johnson. That's got to be the 1-2 punch. Before I go to the comments, I want to read, go over the Big Ten football scores. You guys know that I'll be doing a Big Ten whip around show, so I'll go over it more. But for now, let's just check out a few of the scores. Purdue looks like they're in good shape versus Virginia Tech. That would definitely be a solid victory. Wisconsin plays Washington State later. Michigan beat UNLV. Ohio State beat Youngstown State. Penn State smashed Delaware. Nebraska 0-2, baby. 0-2. I think Colorado is a little bit of fool's gold. I think there's just a lot of hype around Colorado because of Deion Sanders. I'm not saying they're not a decent team, but Nebraska has a first-year coach. And newsflash, Nebraska has not been the program that they have been, that they used to be in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s. Okay. They're just not. They have had multiple losing seasons in a row. Okay. It's first year coach. This is not the most insane victory. TCU, while they were good last year, just because they were good last year doesn't mean they're going to be a national champion caliber team or championship caliber team again this year. So I would caution people to pump their brakes on Colorado. Okay. It's definitely good, but I think it's a little bit of fool's gold. Northwestern finally picks up a victory over UTEP, Michigan State with the victory. Of course, Iowa beats Iowa State. And what about Kansas beating Illinois by double digits too? All right, guys, let's go to the comments. I'm very curious to see what the comments are, because on one hand, Iowa did win. On the other, our offense was totally same old, same old. And like I said, it's yes, you have to take it with a grain of salt because it's on the road. It's in a hostile environment. Iowa State has a pretty good defense. They have a top 25 caliber defense. Latloni, we made it a little too close at the end, but it was a solid win. I agree for the most part. Hawkeyes 2017. I'm tired of the same offensive play calls. I hate to be that guy, but Kirk needs to retire. If they're seriously going to call running plays on long yardage to purposely give up the ball, making it hard for me to watch anymore. It is hard. It is hard. What happened to the quarterback sneak, guys? What happened to it? Iowa in 2 games in a row has been stuffed multiple times on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, just stuffed. They got to figure that out. And I just find it hard to believe that Iowa can call a timeout. They can call a timeout, draw something up, and have immense focus put on that one play, and then come up with a loss of 1 yard on the play. I mean, it's like, come on, Brian. Can we have like a naked bootleg or just a little play action? Everybody and their mama knows that you're going to run the football. And on top of that, Caleb Johnson probably would not be the guy that I would give it to in that situation. Caleb Johnson is a running back that is more for like 1st and 10, 2nd and 8, not 3rd and 1. That's Josiah Patterson because he's slippery. He's more loose and mobile and quick. I would give it to Josiah Patterson in that situation. But I understand Iowa wanting to go with their lead back and putting confidence in him. I get that. Michael Morin, we won. That's all I care about. Brian called a good game. Cade missed some throws. I don't know if I'd say Brian called a good game, but because, again, guys, just because Iowa won doesn't mean that the game was all the way around a really, really solid game. But like I said, I lean more towards, I just want them to win no matter how they win, but I think it's important to note what this offense is. And I think a lot of Iowa fans expected things to change, and that's just not going to be the case. It's going to be the same old, 1 or 2 shots a game, short yardage, scripted plays at the beginning of the game. If they can't score, then they got to hammer down on their defense and hope that that they don't really give up too many points. Paul Hoffer, O-line coach, needs to go. Yeah, the O-line has struggled, but Iowa did at least have 100 yards rushing. So I saw some improvement this game. Some improvement, but really it was all Josiah Patterson's 2 runs, really. Brian, gone. Go Hawks. Win is a win. Cade has to make those big throws. That's why he's here. He looked very similar to what we've had in the past. And Johnson has to hit the hole a lot harder. Patterson did that and was successful. True, but that's why I'm saying Caleb Johnson is a pickup steam running back, where when he gets it, it's not super explosive. He doesn't, get right into the hole. He gets momentum. And then if he can get to the second level, he's gone. And he's very hard because he's picked up steam and he's really moving and he's the bigger back. So, but I would have given it to Josiah Patterson as well. The offense still looks a lot better than last year. I don't know if I would say that quite yet. Michael Moore, 25 points per game won't matter if they win 10 games. New AD will rip it up. True, but it's a big if that they can win 10 games. That's all well and good if they win 10 games. And that's a big if at this point. So, but again, like I said, I'm still very happy that they are 2-0. Andy Gottschalk, Caleb Brown, MIA. He's too far behind in the playbook to make an impact at this point in the season. Yeah, I told you guys in my wide receiver preview not to expect Caleb Brown early on in the season. Expect him mid to late, kind of like what we saw with Xavier Wanpa. Iowa does not play brand new guys like we see with Eric All and Seth Anderson unless they have completely earned the position and are far and away better than the rest, and they're too good to keep off the field. If it's somewhat neck and neck, they will develop and err on the side of their veteran guys and put them in at the end of the year. We've seen that many, many times. Shea Amos, he said he won't do a quarterback sneak because of Cade's knee. He's already said that. True, but you know, I mean, I thought it was his hamstring. And I don't know. The way I see it is if somebody is good enough to start and play, pretty much the whole playbook needs to be available, because at that point you're warmed up, you're good, and you get hurt when you try to avoid contact, to try not playing the way you usually do. But again, they went with the run play. That's fine. I'm sure we'll see quarterback sneak later in the season. I just would have gone with Josiah Patterson. But credit to Iowa State for making that play. TTV Taco Time 37. The run blocking needs a lot of work. But I do think it was better this game. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up here. Iowa moves to 2-0. Still not bad. Luke Lachey is well on his way. He is definitely Cade McNamara, his favorite target. Eric All had a decent game as well. Seth Anderson, one catch. Nico Regani, aka Nico Raggiani, aka Nico Ragaini, 2 catches. Deontay Vines, we haven't really seen a ton out of him early on. I was very hopeful for him, just haven't really seen it. I was happy though to see Caleb Wetschin. I really was. Iowa tried to get his speed involved in the game. I was very happy to see that. So we'll see what that can turn into later in the year. The MVP of the game, definitely Josiah Patterson. Caleb Johnson had a very tough game. LaShawn Williams, same thing. Cade McNamara, 12 of 22, 123 yards, 0 tubs, 1 INT. Total yards, 235 for Iowa to 290 for Iowa State. We have still yet to have 300 yards of offense. Passing yards, 123 to 203. Rushing yards, 112 to 87. Yards per play, this is probably the difference in the game, 4.6 to 3.9. First downs. Guys, for those of you in the comments that are not concerned about the offense, 9 first downs for Iowa. That, guys, is terrible. Okay, that needs to improve. It just does. Iowa needs to, at the very least, moving forward, their goal should be to have 100 yards of total rushing and to have at least, I can't believe I'm saying, at least 15 first downs a game. 9 is just not going to cut it, especially with Penn State coming up. That has to improve. Total plays, 51 to 75. Time of possession, 26 to 33. All right, guys, Iowa gets the victory and proves to 2-0. I'll take it. Better than nothing. Definitely some stuff left to be desired, but overall, I'm happy with the victory. You guys should be too. We have, let's see, who do we have on the schedule for next week? Let's take a look-see here. We have Western Michigan. That should be a game where Iowa can work through some of these things right before Penn State. Hopefully they can get healthier and move forward. All of this is about the early part of the season is about developing and moving towards the right direction and moving forward collectively. So we'll see what happens there. Awesome opportunity for Iowa to get some things shored up. And then we got Penn State. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you to all of you who are already subscribed. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow and facts or feelings, because your feelings, those just don't matter. Love you guys. See you guys next time. Go Hawks. Bye-bye.